Still got skyrocketing crime in these liberal cities.
Happy Cinco de Mayo, everyone. Happy Independence Day for you Americans out there. We're here, and people are in the chat room, but YouTube is telling me that no one is here, but people are here. You guys, if you can see me, say hello. Say, God damn it, Kevin, you're handsome. Especially with this going on right now. What? Happy Independence Day, everybody. Yeah, you're here. Okay, YouTube is lying to me. So where YouTube isn't is Right Side Broadcasting Network. They can't broadcast because of the Trump rally last week for some reason. So they're broadcasting on Rumble. Over 300,000 people watching on Rumble right now. We're going to watch on Rumble. Huge mistake by YouTube because they are cut off from all that revenue. Super chatters, etc., put a lot of revenue into Right Side Broadcasting Network. I don't know why, but they do. YouTube's not going to get a piece of that pie now because it's all going to Rumble, and I don't even know that they have Super Chat, but YouTube gave up on that. But there's some things more important than money, I guess, and it's not like Google's hurting for money. Speaking of money, I'm demonetized by YouTube right now. If you want to give me some money, use any of these links here. Let's go to, this looks like, this is the Donald Trump feed that I've got up right now. It looks like they are actually using Right Side Broadcasting. So,
the crime.
let's go live here and see what's going on. Here we go. Perfect time.
Wow, that's a lot of people. Thank you.
That sound system is way off, by the way.
Well, thank you very much. And hello, Sarasota. Special place to me. Special place. And I'm thrilled to be home in the great state of Florida with the thousands and thousands of proud American patriots who stand strong for faith and family and God and country and never forget free and fair elections and strong borders. Let me begin by wishing each and every one of you a blessed and happy 4th of July. And also, please, may we have a moment of silence for the victims and families of the horrible building collapse in Surfside, Florida. Thank you.
Okay, moment of silence for the folks in Surfside. While he's doing that, I'll adjust my volume a little bit up. And this is the first time we're broadcasting Rumble, so it's going to be a little bit loud to begin with.
Thank you very much.
Here we go.
Thank you. Terrible, terrible tragedy.
Terrible, terrible.
Tomorrow we will celebrate 245 years of glorious American independence. And it will not be canceled, by the way. It will be canceled.
So his audio is way out of sync, guys. There's nothing I can do about that.
Country that George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, John Hancock will forever be American heroes.
Okay.
People want to take their names off buildings. Can you believe it?
I'm going to jump over to the RSBN feed and see if that fixes the problem.
And I told you, this is...
Give me a second here, guys. He's going to make mistakes about George Washington. Let's see. That's the Donald Trump here. We'll go to the actual Right Side Broadcasting.
Does anybody know who it is?
So Donald Trump's actual feed is from Right Side Broadcasting, and they were getting delayed.
Free speech is under assault like never before.
That's
Religious
better.
liberty is being crushed. Nobody took care of religious liberty like we did. Dissenters are being persecuted. Our streets are being overtaken by vicious thugs and bloodthirsty criminals, Democrat cities. Our border is being erased before our very eyes. It was never stronger than the border that we created just
That makes
a few
no sense.
months ago.
Makes no sense.
Critical race theory is being shoved down our children's throats and into the ranks of our military. And our generals are even going for it. Maybe they're just doing that because they think that's politics. They ought to focus on China and Russia and other things of far greater importance. Big tech monopolies are out of control. Men are allowed to play in women's sports.
Oh my God, no! Oh no, the world has
So
ended.
unfair, so crazy.
We don't have a country anymore.
And so bad for women's and the whole women's sports movement.
So bad for
unfair.
women's.
So bad.
So bad for
It'll
women's.
end.
Come on,
It'll
women's.
end
Why don't you
hopefully
complain
sooner
about this?
rather than later. And our leaders are weakly bowing down to Russia, Iran, and communist China.
Every week.
There's only one way to save our nation. We have to work harder than ever before to win the colossal victory for America First Republicans in the midterms next year. And we have to keep fighting exactly like we are for right now.
What?
And I'll be doing exactly that. And we need your help. We need the help of this great country. And I just left Ohio a few days ago. We had 42,000 people also. And this crowd is big. They say
Okay.
we lost, you had like this massive storm. They say we lost nobody.
Okay.
We lost nobody.
Yeah, it was raining pretty hard. I hope it comes back.
I love those guys back there.
Blacks for Trump. 2020.
Together we will take back the House, we will take back the Senate, and we will take back America. We're not going to let this happen. 3 days ago, I traveled to the southern border to witness Joe Biden's demolition of American sovereignty firsthand. You saw that.
That's not a thing.
What a demolition it was. The Biden administration's willful and deliberate
Thanks, Joshua.
obliteration of America's borders and immigration laws is a crime against this nation. We will not stop and we will not rest until illegal policies are overturned. And there's so many of them. They work so quickly. Under my administration, we stood up to the open borders lobby, and it is a big and powerful lobby, and nobody knows why. How the hell is this good for our country?
There is no
People
open
coming
borders
in,
lobby.
They're releasing them from
It's not
prisons.
that's not a
They're
thing.
Criminals at the
It's not-
highest level.
It
murderers,
doesn't
drug
exist.
dealers.
Google it.
We took on the corrupt special interests. We fought the
Hey, babe.
radical globalists left, and we won. We won so much.
1-1-1, and we lost
had a
the election.
rigged election, unfortunately.
Oh, we won so bigly that we lost.
When I left office, we had the most
I
secure
don't know what
border
this
in
is.
U.S. history.
I'm not sure what this is.
We ended catch and release. We ended asylum fraud. We stopped the migrant caravans. You know the caravans? They're coming back. They're coming back like never before. We deported criminal aliens by the tens of thousands. We achieved a 95% reduction in illegal border crossings. And we built nearly 500 miles of border wall. Really big, powerful, strong border wall.
That toddlers can be dropped over. Big, powerful. Big.
Would have been nice if they finished the border wall, and they got to paint the border wall too.
Yeah,
we
that's the
needed
big
another
thing.
couple of months. It would have
it's
been
the
complete.
paint.
It took us 2.5 years of litigation.
Uh-huh.
We were sued by the Democrats. We were
And you
sued
want to
by
do glossy.
Schumer, Pelosi,
You don't want to do
the
flat.
Democrats.
It's too easy to climb.
2.5 years.
You want to
We
do a
won 11
semi-gloss or a high
lawsuits,
gloss.
And we started almost 500 miles. Incredible, but they got to finish it up. Just finish it
Preferably
up.
something
Little sections
washable, in case the
Already
Mexican
bought,
children with their
already paid
crayons.
for. The steel and concrete is sitting right there. Just put it up and get it done. But now Joe Biden has intentionally dismantled the border and allowed the cartels, coyotes, child smugglers, woman smugglers, the biggest smugglers. They're the women smugglers.
The women's.
Drug dealers, murderers, and savage MS-13 gang members to infiltrate our country like never before. It's never been like this. Think of it, 6 months ago, we had the safest border in history.
Not true.
Now we have the worst and most unsafe border in history. But we are
also
helping
not true.
other countries because
also
their
not
prisons are very soon going to be totally empty. Thank you very much.
That's not how that works.
They're sending them into our country.
They're
saying,
not.
We don't want these people. They're sending them into our country. Biden terminated Remain in Mexico. How good was that? You can't come in. You have to be in Mexico. They were taking everybody. He ripped up our Safe Third agreements with Central America. You know, we had agreements with other countries. They didn't want to take back prisoners. They didn't want to take back MS-13 criminals at the worst kind, murderers. And I said, well, why aren't they taking them back? They didn't do it during Obama. You couldn't get them out of our country. They put airplanes all along the runway so our planes couldn't land. They'd have to come back
Never
to
happened.
the United States, loaded up with MS-13
Total
gang
bullshit.
members. And you've heard me say this. I said to our people, really, that's terrible. How much do we pay them? Sir, we pay them $500 million a year. I said, that's okay, stop payment. And I stopped payment.
Just look at the faces of everyone standing behind them.
I stopped payment.
They're all weird
And the next
looking.
day, I got a call from
Like all of
head
them.
of Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador. And they said, sir, you stopped payment on the money that the United States
there's no
was,
normal people in
brackets,
this crowd.
stupidly sending us.
Weirdo, definite weirdo.
Is it because you're not taking
Karen.
back people that should be in your country? You're forcing them into ours, and you're
Semi-weirdo.
not letting us bring them back.
Weirdo.
And we're not going to pay you ever again. We're not giving you anything. They said, but sir, there must be a misunderstanding.
Can't see her.
We would love to have MS-13 back.
Sort of
Please,
normal
please
looking.
send that.
Sort of normal
So the
looking.
following day, they all
But
went back
has
and
not
we sent
stopped
them
smiling.
back by the thousands.
Weirdo,
And they
weirdo,
reversed
weirdo,
that,
weirdo.
And they reversed our
Who- I don't know
asylum
what's
reforms,
happening
and they
here.
halted the border wall. And
Oh, you
they
guys
shut
can't see
down
that.
ICE,
Hold on.
The brave, great patriots of ICE, and instituted catch and release nationwide. And you know what that is. You catch someone, a
Weirdo.
criminal, a murderer. You take the
Weirdo.
name, they don't have much of an address, and you
Stop it.
release them into our country. Congratulations.
What?
You've got
What
a
is
nice
this?
murderer now.
All of
You
this.
have them by the
Weirdo.
thousands. In just 5
Who is
months,
this guy with a suit?
The Biden administration has created a crisis.
This guy does
of
not belong there.
unthinkable
Something is wrong
proportions.
here. What is this guy
Illegal
doing there?
immigration is
Why
up
does he
nearly
have a lanyard?
1,000% from when I was
What is happening?
president. And at this time in 2020, think of it, there has never been anything like the border that we created. And people could come into our country, but they had to come into our country legally. Arrivals of migrant alien youth are up nearly 500%, and they're being resettled in cities and towns all across the United States at taxpayer expense.
That's the way it's always
And you know,
worked.
they have suicide watch for so many of these young children. They're on suicide watch
Some of them.
because the way they're being treated and the way they were treated, you've seen them. They get them dropped off the wall. They drop them from a 30-foot wall.
Yeah, the
There are
toddlers.
many of them on suicide watch. But
They're,
that's
it's a
not
14-foot
all.
wall,
American
and they're
taxpayers
toddlers,
are now being
and the
forced
toddlers
to
are
pay
not on suicide
for the
watch.
relatives of illegal aliens to be flown here to join them in the United States. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice?
That is
Because
nice, actually.
It's called
Yeah.
chain migration. You know what chain migration is?
That's not how
Somebody
chain
comes,
migration
whether
works.
he's killer, not killer, drug
Nope.
dealer, not.
Nope.
He comes here. He's allowed to bring in his mother, his
No,
father,
he's not.
his sister, his brother.
No.
His aunt, his uncle.
That's
his
not how it works at all.
grandfather, his grandmother. He's allowed to bring
His
in
grandmother?
anybody he wants or she wants, and we don't want that. Bring it up again. They're bringing people in of thousands, by the millions, by the way. You know, when they
Okay, so the whole Rumble sucks. I'm just saying that. Here we go.
Report they're up.
I can't pause and go back. I can't replay things. This is terrible. Come on, YouTube. Let RSBN do their thing.
Almost 1,000%. They don't know. Because for everyone you catch, they say 5 times. They say multiply times 5. I say multiply it times more than 10 times.
Okay.
More than 10 times. They're destroying our country. We are witnessing an illegal mass migration that is planned, facilitated, funded, aided, and abetted by the far-left Democrats who, thanks to a totally rigged and dishonest election, now control the United States government. Think of that. Think of that.
Okay. Yay! Good job rigging the election, Democrats.
That didn't happen in Florida, did it? Just as I predicted
Didn't need
under
to.
Joe Biden, America has no borders, and if his policies are not reversed immediately, we will have no country. And you know, I watch
3 records in the stock market this week. All 3 major indices. Records.
watch them say, oh, we have to immediately go back to the Trump policy. Not that easy. Like, you got to make a new deal with these countries. You got to make new deals with Mexico. I have a great relationship with the president of Mexico. He may be a socialist, but I like him a lot. Is that okay? It's okay to get along with heads of other countries, don't you think? You know, he gave us free 28,000 soldiers to protect our border. Free. I got them for nothing. But I promised not to put tariffs on his cars, but that's okay. You know, they sold 32% of our automobile manufacturing business over a 30-year period. I'd say that's a lot. But he's terrific, and we got along great. He did a great job, and one of the reasons we brought it down so low. And he doesn't want people coming from all over the world.
It's a field.
Traipsing through Mexico. And by the way, they come from the Middle East. They come from lots of places. You don't want to know about it. Tonight,
we don't want to know about it?
every border agent, ICE officer, and law enforcement professional who Joe Biden has cruelly betrayed. He's betrayed. They lied during the campaign. I told you they were lying, but a lot of people didn't believe me. They lied like hell. Did they lie about energy? Remember, we want energy. They're closing down everything. You will not be energy independent for another 2 weeks. I'll tell you what, another couple of weeks, you're not going to be energy. I was so proud. We are energy independent. We didn't need the Middle East. We didn't need Russia. We didn't need anybody.
We're not energy independent.
In 2 weeks, you will not be energy independent. They're canceling leases.
Well, no.
They're stopping drilling. They want to go to windmills.
It's
right?
far more complicated than that, and it's wind turbines. Wind turbines.
Oh, boy, oh, boy.
Not windmills.
They want to go, let's go build a windmill, Alice.
No.
And if the
Who's
wind
Alice?
isn't blowing, don't
Alice
worry
isn't
about
even my
it, darling.
car.
We'll have to learn to live a different way.
I want to watch
so
TV,
sad.
darling.
You know, I'm not against a lot of things, but when I see these big towers, these big wind towers that are rotting and rusting, and they make a lot of noise, and they drive down the value of your
They
homes
don't make
if
a
you
lot of
happen to
noise.
be in earshot or sight, and it's very intermittent energy. It's not good. And they're ruining our fields. They're ruining our oceans.
They're ruining
and
our
they're all
fields.
made in China.
Our-
and they're
our
all made in
oceans.
Germany. Germany and China make 100% of the...
No, that's not. That's bullshit. They're made. A lot of them are made in America, and our oceans are on fire right now because of oil. Literally on fire. So
those big wind towers. So they got to be laughing at us. It's so sad. You saw what happened in Texas. They froze up. Got a little cold. They froze up. I think
you saw what happened in the Gulf of Mexico.
Texas, you have a great governor in Texas. I think that
The big problem in Texas is the fact that the gas-powered plants all froze up. All of it froze up after the federal government told them to fix it 11 years ago. And they didn't. And then it all froze up again because that's how Texas works. They're not part of the grid. They are energy independent. They didn't want to be part of any grid so that when bad things happen in Texas, there's no escape from it.
Texas should
Well, I correct myself there. You could go to Cancun.
say, no more wind. We've got so much oil and gas, they don't know what to do with it. 500 years worth. To all law enforcement, I want you to know that the American people thank you. They believe in you. They love you. They respect you. They need you. And we are going to fight for you. Law enforcement's been treated very badly, but we love you. I just met a lot of them backstage. I'll tell you, these are great people. We're going to elect a Republican Congress to terminate Joe Biden's open border catastrophe, defund his extreme agenda, and give our ICE and Border Patrol the resources, support, and gratitude they so richly deserve. The Socialist Democrats have not only brought chaos and bedlam to the border, they brought every bad thing you can have to this border. This border is a disaster. By defunding police.
The same thing.
And by the way, do you hear the new one?
What?
It was the Republicans. You know what they do? It's called disinformation. Like Russia, Russia, Russia.
No.
Trump was so friendly with Russia. Trump worked for Russia. You know, they say it over
You just said it's good to be friends with leaders of the foreign countries.
On the fake news media, there's a
Are the lights going to go off?
lot of them back there.
Yeah, the light's going to go off right now. No one is broadcasting this. Nobody. It's not on YouTube anywhere. I'm literally, I think, probably
Trump
the only
loves
one.
Russia. You know, I'm the one that exposed the pipeline. I shut down the pipeline to Europe. I don't think they like me too much. But, you know, they say
He put sanctions on it, but they kept building it.
And so now they're getting killed by the defund the police, which they're doing, by the way.
Yeah.
But they're getting absolutely killed. So all of
Biden
a sudden,
has always been against defunding the police.
There's a word,
since day one.
disinformation. It's called if you
He
say
thinks
it
it's stupid.
enough and keep saying it, just keep saying it, they'll start to believe you. We can't let that happen.
And this is his 112th rally since the beginning of 2020. So yeah, just keep saying it.
Because now they're saying the Republicans wanted to defund the police.
Correct. They did not vote for the rescue package.
I heard it for the first time. I said, did I hear that wrong? Please play that over again. You know, nowadays we can actually play things over again. I said, play it over again.
He has someone with his remote.
It was the Republicans' fault. It is such a disaster what these people do. It's disinformation. They say it again and again and again.
Not
and
a single
after
Republican
months
voted for
of
money
hearing
for the police.
And we have no
Not
free press
one.
anymore. The free press is truly gone. Other than a few sources, it's gone. So they get away with this stuff. We cannot let it happen. We have to be much tougher, stronger, and smarter. We have to be. By defunding police, abolishing cash bail, and releasing tens and tens and tens of thousands of dangerous criminals from jail, the
30,000?
radical left is bringing a nightmare of mayhem and lawlessness to every city, every suburb, and every community in America. You know, when they come in through these jails, they don't stay there. They go all throughout your beautiful community. That includes Florida.
They come in through these jails? What?
And Ohio and Iowa and every other state in the union. Joe Biden canceled our program to send federal law enforcement to cities overrun by violent crime. Isn't it interesting to know that every one of those cities is Democrat, leaving innocent Americans at the mercy of brutal gangsters and ruthless killers? People are afraid to go into those cities. Now the murder rate has just seen its largest single-year increase in history.
I have no problem going to any of those cities. Who's afraid of those cities?
All in Democrat-run cities and areas. Think of that.
Like Tulsa and Jacksonville.
Now, how did they recover from that? Look at Chicago, such a great city, and now look at what's happened.
Chicago has been bad for years. Remember, you used to bitch about Chicago constantly.
Look at New York. The prosecutors never want to talk about anybody that murdered. They don't want to talk about anybody that's trafficking in drugs. They're letting the people out by the thousands. The bloodshed is beyond belief. This week, a 21-year-old U.S. Marine was hit by a stray bullet in broad daylight while standing in the middle of Times Square. 78 people were shot in Chicago last week alone. Now, just think of that. You know, we talk.
That used to happen under you as well.
Sort of thinking about other things.
So maybe it's a gun problem?
A great time. Is everybody having a great time today?
I'm actually having a pretty good time.
Even though the subject is a negative one, eventually this subject will be the most positive one you've ever been involved in, okay?
What?
Now, these
you've ever been involved
incredible. They all want the, sir, when are you bringing back the rallies? And I'm so glad this is one of our great early rallies. And this area is so great. We won Florida by a lot. We won Florida by a lot.
What? Okay, but you lost the election. Florida's just one state. Hillary Clinton could have gone around doing rallies after.
So, you know, I live in Florida. I'm a citizen of Florida. Listen to this. So, when I was down here, thank you very much, but I turned on television. Commercial after commercial after commercial.
That's television.
I think they spent $240 million in Florida. One lightweight put up $100 million of negative ads. I don't know, he was jealous because he did so poorly in a debate.
Okay, and you lost the election.
Put up $100 million. They spent hundreds of millions. I turn on, every commercial was a kill. I called my people. I said, how the hell can I win Florida? They said, sir, you're going to win in a landslide, and that's what happened. That's what.
And then Joe Biden won in a landslide. 306 to 220.
Because ultimately,
something.
The people are really smart.
He
they don't
used
get
to
enough
always
credit.
get that wrong.
If you want law and order
Clinton,
and justice, you have only one choice. You must vote Republican or MAGA. MAGA, we love MAGA.
If you want choice,
make America great again. Vote Republican.
If you're pro-choice, make sure to vote Republican.
We have some good ones, right? America first. Save America.
You have some good ones.
But there's something about MAGA. Just keeps coming back, right? MAGA. MAGA country. Even while the Democrat extremists let murderers, rapists, drug dealers, and dangerous criminals run wild in Democrat cities, they're corrupting and weaponizing the law against their political opponents. Oh, gee, I'm so surprised. Radical left New York City and state prosecutors who have allowed crime to skyrocket to we have never seen anything like what's happened. Record levels, record murders up a percentage that's not even possible. And outrageously and shamefully continuing the greatest witch hunt. That's what they do. They go and target me. I've been targeted since I came down the escalator. Do you remember Mueller? The 18 angry Democrats, remember that? They had more resources. They spent $48 million, and in the end, they said there was no collusion. I couldn't believe they came up with that.
They made a profit because of Manafort. A friend of mine
said, you have to be the cleanest guy in history. Think of it. 2.5 years, $48 million, the Mueller report, no collusion. This is the kind of persecution that they're doing as an example in New York. And they're doing
it did not look at collusion.
That you would see in a third world nation. This isn't for us. It's reminiscent of a communist dictatorship targeting your political opponents for, really, it is, think of it, prosecution. They prosecute people, good people, fabulous people, people that love our country, honest people, fabricating charges to try and silence them, abusing the justice system and leaking out information on a daily basis in the press, to engage in flagrant character assassination. Every day I pick up the paper. Hey, what did they leak out today? It's unprecedented, unheard of, and totally unacceptable in America for prosecutors to run for office on a promise to get their political enemies. How about the one, New York State? We're going to get Trump. I'm running. She's running. I'm going to get Trump. I promise her. Knows nothing about me. All she knows, she's going to get me from the day she got in. I'm going to get Trump. But, you know, the people are wise to it. The people get it. I'm going to get Trump. Vote for me. I don't know a damn thing about him, but I'm going to get him. But even if they've committed no crimes, no problems, it's a fascist and authoritarian, and the people who talk about democracy are literally destroying it before our very eyes. Nobody can believe the things that we're witnessing, so many things. After hundreds of subpoenas, and that includes Mueller and all of the Congress where I have been, think of it, probably no president.
He didn't comply with any of the subpoenas, not one.
The Trump administration included.
He did not comply with a single subpoena. Fought every single one of them.
With the military, with the lowest taxes, the biggest tax cut ever, with the biggest regulation cuts. We built Space Force, so important. So many things.
Yeah, Space Force.
By the way, we developed a vaccine in 9 months instead of 5 years, okay?
Never did infrastructure week. Never actually did any infrastructure, but we have Space Force, so we're good, everybody.
Which everybody's big deal. Lots of big deals.
Can't commute to work, but, you know, space.
But just think of it.
Okay.
We did all of this and constantly under investigation by the radical left. From day one. From the day
And the DOJ, that, I mean, you know, if they're the radical left.
I came down the escalator with your great
With
and
big
beautiful
First Lady.
future First Lady.
First Lady, yeah.
Right from that day.
This is the greatest hits. Oh, she's standing up.
They do love our First Lady, I will say. She's great.
Yeah.
She is great. And
Where
she
is
loves
she?
you, and she says hello. After over 3 million pages of documents. Think of that. 3 million pages. Great company. Big company. Great company. They don't give you credit for that. I used to get a lot of credit. I get credit from the people that know. 4 years of searching, dozens and dozens of interviews, and millions of dollars spent of taxpayer funds, all wasted.
He's
The
talking
radical
about the
left
Mueller
continues
report.
to search for a crime and wreck lives, break laws, violate every principle of justice, fairness, and liberty. You see it. You see it on a constant basis.
Hey, is this
It's
where you
really
start chanting,
called
lock her up?
prosecutorial misconduct.
Lock her
It's
up.
a terrible,
Lock her up.
terrible thing.
Terrible.
There's
Yeah.
no depth to which the radical left will not sink to stop our Make America Great Again movement.
I thought you did that. You had 4 years. Why
Think
didn't
of
you do
it.
it?
New York prosecutors did not go after a single financial firm after the 2008 financial crisis caused by all of those firms,
They
which
did.
devastated and almost destroyed
They did.
our country. No one was ever held accountable. No one.
No.
They did not
many
go
were
after
prosecuted.
Hunter Biden or his father
Oh, Hunter. Yeah,
for major
yeah.
crimes. So, you know,
Right.
Joe was totally in on it. Look, you know, Joe said, I didn't
What?
know anything about
What
it.
crimes?
A report came out today in the New York Post.
List of crime.
Actually, by some great reporters. New York Post has done an incredible job. But where Joe Biden knew everything. He knew everything. Hunter Biden, what they did with money pouring in from Russia, from Ukraine, from China. They didn't go after Hillary Clinton and her foundation. They didn't touch her. They
Yes,
leave
no-
Democrats
no
alone
crimes
no
were
matter
committed.
how bad they are. But
they-
they've mobilized every power of government to come after me, my family, my wonderful employees, and my company solely because of politics. They want to do things to hurt us. We're too smart, we're too good. I think we're too good, and we're too united. Because remember this,
Michael Cohen went to jail.
the Democrats have horrible policy. Think of it. Open borders, sanctuary cities. I mean, the policies are so... Defund the police. It's their policy. Remember, don't let them
not
talk
Biden's
anybody
policy.
out of that. But they have horrible policy, but they stick together. They're very vicious people, far more vicious than Republicans. I don't know why. I wish I could say that we would fight back the way they fight. But they do have one thing that's good. They stick together. You don't have Mitt Romney and Little Ben Sass and these people. You don't have these people. They stick together.
Well, you
and I
have
respect
AOC
that.
in the
The harder
squad.
I fight for you, the harder they come after me. Crime is rampant on our streets of these cities. And these prosecutors
it's mostly your
refuse to
family.
prosecute even for murder, deadly assault, robbery, drug, and human trafficking. They refuse to prosecute.
He's
the only
just
one they
listing
want to
various
prosecute
crimes.
is me or Republicans.
Petty
How
larceny,
many of the
grand
dumbest people
larceny,
are under investigation?
stealing library books.
They're letting thousands
burning
and
toast.
thousands of criminals out
They
of
refuse
jail.
to
You saw it just
prosecute.
announced. They're letting all these people. Many of them.
Neckbeards for Trump.
Look at the
Yes.
people they're letting, and these people are going on the streets. There's no cash bail, there's no justice, and the people are afraid to go to our Democrat-run cities. I don't like going. They're afraid to go. Who the hell wants to go?
Oh, the
And
snowflakes
yet they go
afraid
after
of going
good,
to New York.
hard-working people for not paying taxes on a company car. Company car. You
Hey,
didn't pay tax on the
just
car.
because he sent his
company
kids to
apartment.
private
You used
school
an apartment
and
because
we didn't pay
you need an
taxes on it,
apartment because you have to travel too far. with
you
your
have to
houses.
send your grandkids to private school. That's a company expense.
Or education
That's a business
for your
expense.
grandchildren. I don't even know. Do you have to? But does anybody know the answer to that stuff? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, the
But they
IRS does.
indict people for that.
Yes.
But for murder and for selling massive amounts of the worst drugs in the world that kill people left and right.
Left and right.
That's okay. Think of it. Think of how unfair it is. Never before has New York City and their prosecutors, or perhaps any prosecutors, criminally charged a company or a person for fringe benefits. Fringe benefits. Murder's okay. Human trafficking, no problem. But fringe benefits, you can't do that.
Cheating the city of New
Every
York
abuse,
out
by
of
the way, every
$250,000,
company,
which, by the way, pays for
who the hell
cops.
people don't even know.
That's a fringe benefit.
They don't even know. Every abuse and attack they throw my way is solely because I have been fighting for you against the corrupt establishment. That's all it is. I mean, you know how many
Cheating on
investigations?
taxes
They've all
for
seen
15
this. Mueller
years.
spent $48 million. He saw it. They all saw it.
Keeping
Many
2
people, they
sets
saw
of
it.
books,
But this last
not
group,
telling the
radical
government
left, they said, listen, we
what
failed
you're
in
spending
Washington
the money
to get
on
them.
so that you don't have
Here's
to pay
the papers.
taxes.
See if you can take them out, New York. Radical left New York. It's because I have called for their...
Paying your employees
and I
under the
called them
table.
out on the lies and exposed their incompetence and taken away their power, and perhaps most importantly, it's because I got 75 million votes.
and Biden
by the
got
way-
82.
And by the way, it's probably a lot more than that.
Well,
But that's by far the most of any sitting president
it's
in history.
74. It's 74
Thank you.
million. And you lost. Where are all these votes then? Where? They've counted the votes multiple times. We have paper records of every single vote in a disputed state. They've done recounts. They've done audits. There's no missing votes. You asked Brad Wafflesberger to find you 11,000 votes.
But
He
that's
couldn't.
by far the most of any sitting president.
What does it
in the history
matter?
of our country. Far more than Obama, far more than anybody. And again, how many more would we have gotten with fair elections?
Yeah, well,
many?
you can score 10
I can
field
tell
goals
you,
in
I
a
think
football game,
many
which is a
millions
record.
and millions,
But if
a
the
lot
other
of things
team
are
scores
happening.
5
Watch
touchdowns,
this
you're
state
done.
soon. I want to thank so many of the states. You look at what's going on in some of the states, it's incredible what they're doing because they get it. And I'm far more popular now than on election day because the people have watched what the hell has happened to our country in just a very short period
He's
of time.
not far more popular.
What they are doing is a disgrace to our nation.
Record stock market.
It's really an atrocious abuse of power. Nobody's ever seen
Millions
anything
of new
like this.
jobs.
And the American
The
people
economy roaring
will
back to
not
life.
stand for it. I know that.
New demand for goods and services.
Now, we're thrilled to be joined tonight by many outstanding
9.3 million open jobs, which is higher than at any time during Trump's presidency. Remember that Trump's presidency was the only presidency in modern history where jobs were actually lost. He left office with fewer jobs than when he arrived.
Republican leaders, and they're really friends of mine, and they're warriors. And there are a few here that I'm not going to introduce because they're not warriors, so the hell with them. Who cares?
Okay.
And a woman who's become a friend of mine, she's incredible, and I guarantee you nobody's going into her house unless they have approval.
What?
There's no games, right? He's screaming out, Lauren, it's Lauren. Lauren Boebert.
Why would anyone want to go into her house?
Nobody's going into your house, Lauren, don't worry.
All right.
On top of it, I just met her husband, and definitely nobody's going into her house. Thanks, Lauren.
Great.
Vice Chair of the Florida GOP, Christian Ziegler. Christian, thank you.
I don't know him.
Great job. Great job on the election. My son, Don, who got up and made a speech, did he do a good job? Did he do good? Yeah. People love Don. He's a great guy. And Kimberly Guilfoyle.
do you
I
love
listened
Don?
to their speeches. They were great.
Do you love Don? Do you think he did a good job? Can you
And I
tell
just
your son
wanna
that you love
thank
him?
all of them and others that are here. And, you know, we have a lot of people from our Republican Party. They fought like hell in this election against a lot of odds because the money that was spent is unprecedented.
lost.
And
And
we won
lost.
easily. We won by a lot, by a record.
No, you
and I
lost.
just want to thank them all and the people from Congress and the people from the Republican Party.
This just isn't
What
reality.
a job you did, and thank you very much.
He
Thank you.
lost by 4% of the vote.
I also want to thank a group. It's called Right Side Broadcasting Network for their long-time coverage of our incredible movement.
Because nobody else is covering this. Let's just jump. I'm going to pull up just a second here. Let me get rid of this. I'm going to pull up and see if any of the networks are broadcasting.
They got banned because they held a speech or something, and they got banned from where? They got banned.
Nope.
And they don't give a damn. They're out there. They're fighters. They have been so great.
Not even Fox is covering this right now.
OAN and Newsmax and a lot of great people. A lot of great. We're getting the word out like never before. It's been amazing. This is all live stuff, and a lot of cameras are going right now. That's good. Thank you very much. I don't want to mention bad about anybody because they'll turn those cameras off on me.
The lights will go off. Is that what's happening?
And I also want to thank a man who is a true fighter. You do not want to fight with him. These are tough guys, but don't fight with this guy. Jorge Masvidal, because he brought Miami to a level that nobody thought a Republican could get to. And Jorge, I want to thank you very much. You are really, he is truly a warrior. Even our folks from Congress would say Jorge is a warrior. A very special thanks also to Sky King Fireworks. And, you know...
What?
You know, Sky King said, we are big fans and we want to do a great show. So I'll let you know if it's any good, because right after I'm finished, we're going to have the best fireworks you've ever seen. I'm staying. I'm staying. Sky King. And the Sarasota Republican Party, led by my good friend, Florida Republican Party Chairman, Joe Gruters, for tonight's fireworks show.
Okay,
Where's
OAN
Joe?
is broadcasting it.
I love Joe. Joe gave me the Man of the Year. Before I ever did this, he gave me Man of the Year twice. He gave it to me once, and then he gave it to me during Romney's convention, because he probably knew where Romney was going, and that wasn't to a victory.
Newsmax
But it
is
was
covering
during
it.
the convention, and
Fox
I
is
said,
not.
you know, I have a little conflict. I have the convention. He said, I'll take the award. I came to Sarasota, I think that night or the night before, and Joe has done a fantastic job. Thank you very much, Joe. Appreciate it. And other people that have been incredible. My people came up, they said, please, sir, would you do us a favor? What? Would you thank the Sarasota Police and Fire Departments
sir.
for the incredible job? And I said, yes, I will. Yes, I will. And they said, sir, also, please, sir, Sarasota County Sheriff's Office and all of law enforcement here tonight from all over Florida, we thank you, we love you, and we appreciate it. Thank you very much. Look at those people. Nobody's going to mess with them. Nobody's messing.
Is someone
with
going to
them.
go to their house? Is
But
someone
they
going
were
to come to their house?
incredible tonight. You know, we had a lot of people came into this area, and they came in quickly. And with you came the storms, and then you sat and you got drenched. Is everybody drenched? Well, you don't have to worry about
I'm
taking
good.
a shower tonight. That's so clean. That water is so clean and nice. Each and every one of us here tonight is part of a movement unlike anything the world has ever seen before. It's true.
If it rains, you don't have to take a shower, folks. That's nature's shower. Go. Now it's stopped on its own.
I know people,
There we
good
go.
people, they've gone into Republican primaries, Democrat primaries, and they did, you know, really well. They came in second, third, fourth, and they became famous for the rest of their lives, and they're commentators, and they're good. We won the presidency.
No, you didn't.
Changed the world.
Sweetheart, you didn't win.
We gained respect all over the world for our country again. And wait till you
Oh,
see what's
back in
going to
2016.
happen, because great things are going to happen for our country. Great things. But there's never been anything like it. There's never been anything like it.
But it's done. You're done.
We've already accomplished more than anyone thought even possible. And that's despite,
What?
as I said before, all of the everyday subpoenas, subpoenas. You know, Congress has sent back hundreds and hundreds every day on a daily basis. We got subpoenas. They want to see this, they want to see that. Somebody said to me, very smart person, one of the smartest people, actually, very successful, said, could I ask you a question? First of all, how do you take it? I said, I don't know. It almost becomes like part of the work program. How do you take it?
The work program.
How the hell do you take it? And they ask me that question a lot. How do you do this? But what we've done is something that nobody thought possible. How do you do it?
What?
We do it because I love what we've done. And what we've done is going to get better and better. And the beautiful thing about what happened is now people can see how bad it can go and how quickly it can be taken away.
That's bad.
And
That's
we can't
bad
let
right
that
there.
happen. We can't
This is bad. The International Sign Language, I believe. This is ASL for bad.
And to think that we were all set. I'll tell you what, we would have
That
had
is
a deal
correct,
with
Owen.
Iran in 1 week. 1 week. Thank you. I love you too. Look at it. I love you too. Thank you.
You had a deal with Iran when you came into office. You tore it up. You then had 3 more years to make a deal with Iran. But you could make a deal in 1 week. Why didn't you make a deal? Ridiculous.
But once the plague came in from China, I felt I don't even talk about it, but it's helped our farmers a lot and our manufacturers, and
No.
they have lived up to that deal. I will say that about China.
They have not.
But it's just a terrible thing. And so many other things were happening that were so positive. You know, North Korea, President Obama told me that North Korea is going to be the biggest problem. I got along with Kim Jong-un. I got along with him great.
And now they have missiles
And it was
that can
only
take
a
out all
very
of America.
corrupt election that slowed us down.
Well, stopped you. Oh, something's going on behind them.
But good things are going to happen. Remember, we passed record-setting tax cuts. We imposed massive regulation cuts. We adopted pro-American energy policies.
Something's going
and
on.
achieved.
Polishes.
Oh, it's so sad to say it. Because
Energy
you're not gonna have
polishes.
it anymore. Look at that beautiful price that you're paying now in gasoline. Aren't you happy at $3.50? You know what? In a year from now, you'll be extremely happy at $3.50 because it's going to go a hell of a lot higher. 187 to 350, but we had it done. American energy independence. I was so proud of that. We fought for fair trade because every country in the world was ripping off the United States. The European Union was almost as bad as China, but nobody wants to say that. You know, it's Europe.
You say it
nobody
constantly.
Wants to say. And then we got them to pay NATO, $430 billion because they weren't paying their bills. So I said, listen, you're ripping us off from trade. You know the expression, how many Chevrolets do you find in the middle of Munich? Not too many, like
none.
Maybe
They don't
one.
market in Munich.
I doubt it. I doubt it. And
Ford
yet
is the
they send
4th
their
most
cars
popular
in by the
car
millions.
in Munich.
No, they didn't treat us well.
Chevrolet
They don't,
doesn't
but,
market in Germany.
Big changes were being made. But together we built the greatest economy in the history of the world. Think of it. Before the plague came in.
It wasn't even close.
Before the plague came in, and then when the plague did come in, the China virus came in, we did it again. We did it again. And you have a great economy. If we didn't have the strong foundation, and the radical left used to look for any country, India at the time was doing pretty well. Look at how well India is doing. How well is India doing? They got a lot of problems. Look at how well this country. They have suffered at a level that nobody ever thought. But
Australia, New Zealand, Singapore,
try and
Japan.
compare us to a country that they thought at the time was doing well. They didn't do too well. Because what India and others are going through right now.
United States is still worse.
Is not even thinkable. Not even
It is thinkable. We went through
what
it.
we're doing now is if they don't kill it with inflation and all the factors, you're gonna see some things that are
621,255 dead.
happening that
This
are
number
very
right
bad.
here.
They're
This
doing
was
some
you, big
very
guy.
dangerous
Right,
and very
right.
bad things.
Hold on.
But we've never
There.
had an economy like we had before. And we built it because the foundation was so strong. Remember this.
2.3% GDP.
160 million people working. We were never even close to that.
We were very close to
African American, Asian American, Hispanic American.
Right, those are Americans.
Women, young people,
Yeah.
people with a diploma, people without a diploma.
Yeah, there were jobs.
People from
Okay.
MIT, Harvard, and Wharton. They did great. People that didn't go to the best schools did great. Everybody was doing great. And actually, I was getting calls from
GDP
people on the left. Let's
GDP
get together. I'm telling
was
you,
2.3%.
I was
Manufacturing
starting to see that there
was
going to
in
be unity.
contraction.
And then we got hit by the plague and we had to get to work. But I was starting to see things because they couldn't fight it. We never had better employment numbers. We've never had every
We
group
did have
more
better
than they
employment
had
numbers.
ever
That's a
made
lie.
before. And the biggest beneficiary were blue-collar
Beneficiary?
workers. It was a beautiful thing.
They were the best beneficiaries.
And
they
I'm
would
telling
fish
you,
for
had we
banners,
not been hit by
and
the
they would
plague,
hundreds and hundreds
this
of banners a
country
day.
would be very unified. I really believe it. Can you believe that?
We
And I'm
would be
never sure,
unified.
you know, I wouldn't have said that, but I was getting calls from people that you would not have believed. Very friendly calls. They couldn't.
I
believe
still
what was
don't believe
happening,
it.
And then we got hit.
Give
And
us a
we had
name.
to do it again, and we did it twice.
Dude,
we did it
give us a
twice.
name.
During the pandemic, we produced 3 vaccines in record time. And remember, 3 to 5 years, they said. And they said, but it probably won't happen. I got it done in less than 9 months. What a difference.
He
What
got
a
it done.
difference.
It was
And you have to
Pfizer.
have your freedom as to taking it and all of that.
Moderna
but
did it
what
in a
difference,
weekend.
What a great thing.
It's
and
science.
That's for the world. Had we not had that, we wouldn't all be here tonight. We wouldn't be here. It would be a whole different world tonight. And I'm talking world, not just the United States. What we saved.
I'm sure
I think
all
we would
those
have had
people are
another
vaccinated.
1917 Spanish flu.
1918.
That's what I believe. We're close to 100 million people, they say, died.
That's what,
But
105
while Joe Biden
times
now wants credit for all of our successes. Do you remember during the inauguration, he said he created the vaccine?
No, he didn't.
I said, no, Joe, we gave
No.
you the vaccine on December 11th.
He did
Remember,
not
we
say
put
that.
it into your arm to keep you safe, Joe. His radical
And he
agenda and
thanked you
far-left
immediately.
policies have already begun to destroy our country.
No.
Biden canceled the American Keystone XL pipeline. Can you believe that?
That's a Canadian
48,000
pipeline.
barrels.
That is a Canadian company with a Canadian pipeline, Trump. That's
And he
foreign
approved
oil.
the Russian pipeline to Europe. It's not even.
You didn't.
And they say Trump wasn't tough on Russia. Really? I stopped their pipeline.
You didn't stop
The
it.
single greatest source of income
You put
for
sanctions
Russia was
on,
their
and they
pipeline.
didn't
I
stop.
stopped it, and this guy immediately let it go through. So what's that all about? Trump wasn't tough on Russia. And I actually had and have a very good relationship with President Putin. But that's
Yeah.
a good thing. That's not a bad thing. That's actually
not a
very
great
good
thing.
And
There's no
until
reason.
the plague came in, I had a very good relationship with President Xi of China.
Aw.
And I have a very good
Was
relationship
he your buddy?
with Kim Jong-un. And isn't it nice that you can actually have
Isn't it
those
nice that you can be
relationships?
friends with a
And you know
dictator?
what? And with the
that
European
that you
leaders,
can
even
look
though
past
they knew
the
I wasn't going to
murdering
take their nonsense,
and the
'cause they ripped us
political
off at a
corruption
level that you've
and
never
the
seen
human
before
rights
outside of
violations,
China
and just reach out and give him a
couple of
hug.
others. Biden re-entered the job-killing Paris Climate Accord.
And yet jobs keep
That's
growing in
going to
this
cost
country.
us $1 trillion, and you have to close a lot of factories. It was a big mistake to do it. China doesn't kick into that deal for many, many years. Russia kicks in at the low.
We got so many jobs being lost that we have 9.3 million jobs available right now. 9.3 million jobs out there. Go.
Thing having to do. They said, keep your country open. I closed it. Don't forget, you know, people said, why didn't you fire Fauci? I said, I didn't have to. I always did the opposite of what he said. So why
Nope.
should I fire
He
him?
did what he recommended.
He said, keep the country open. And I had a good relationship.
No, he didn't say that.
Honestly, I had a pretty good relationship. He said, just call me Tony, sir. I call him, just call me Tony.
Oh, okay.
I said, sir, just call me
It's
Tony.
all about relationships.
He's a hell of a promoter, though. Don't you agree? Remember, no masks. Masks are terrible. Don't wear masks. And now he's a radical masker. Have 3 masks, and if you can, put on goggles and a helmet. Different kind of a deal. But Biden's pushing now the largest tax hike in history. I gave you the largest tax decrease in the history of our country.
I'm true.
That's what I mean about their policies. How the hell can open borders, tax increases, all of these things, sanctuary cities, all of the crap they want to teach our kids in school, how can that be good? You know
A
what?
lot of head
if they
shaking
had
going
good
on back
policy,
there.
I think they'd be hard to beat, but their policy is so bad. It's so
But
radical
you
and
lost.
it's so sick that
You
they really aren't going to do well. And I
lost.
think we're going to have, it's already less than
You
a
lost.
year and a half away. Can you believe that?
You lost.
We're going to show them. We're going to show them.
But you
We
lost.
have great people like these people, and we're going to show them. Joe Biden's infrastructure plan would annihilate America's suburbs by abolishing single-family home zoning here in Florida and nationwide. And the
not
reason they
true.
mention that is
Not
because
true.
I wrote all of that stuff off. You know that.
No,
I
it's
used
not
to
true.
campaign on the suburbs. Then they say, How did Trump do with women in the suburbs? I think
Lost.
he did very well.
You lost.
I think.
No, but you think, but you're wrong.
You know,
lost.
a great pollster, John McLaughlin, I got 63 million votes, and John McLaughlin said, sir, if you get 64 or 65, the election is over, you win.
And John McLaughlin was
presidents
wrong.
Go down in the second term. When
John
Obama
McLaughlin
went way down. He won
was
the second
wrong.
time. You know, his competition was Romney. Who the hell is he going to beat Romney? In one of the worst campaigns in history. It was an embarrassment. But he beat Romney, but he went down. He got fewer votes. And they go, this is John, great pollster. He goes, sir, I will tell you, if you can get 64 million or 65 million, there is no way you can lose the election. I got 75 million, and they said, we lost the election. The USA Today explained Biden's deranged socialist scheme with, quote, a house with a white picket fence and a big backyard for the 4th of July barbecue celebration may be a staple of the American dream, but experts and local politicians say multifamily zoning is the key to combating climate change, always climate change. And remember this, climate change, you only have 9 years left, right?
No.
Remember where
that's
AOC
not
got
what it
up?
said.
We have 12 years. Well, we might have problems. We better be careful about
12
nuclear
years to
and
make
all.
changes,
But you're not gonna
or they will be
worry about it.
irreversible.
You're just going to do everything right.
Not 12
You'll be
years
fine.
till we
But
all
have
die.
because of climate
It's not like
change.
the Gulf
12
of
years
Mexico's
to
on
go.
fire.
We're down to now 9. Is anybody nervous about it? Somehow I'm not. I'm not. But racial injustice and nation's growing housing crisis, and that was the quote. In other words, if Biden and the radical Democrats get their way, you can kiss your suburbs, your 4th of July, your barbecue, and you can kiss the American dream goodbye.
That's from his speeches in 2020.
And by the way, when we're
having July the 4th tomorrow. It's happening.
We are looking at the election, but more
It's the
than
same
looking at
wording
it.
as it was
But you
using
know what?
during the
There's
election.
Not even an election.
If
But
Biden and the Democrats take charge, you can kiss the
we
4th of
come
July
out to
goodbye.
Florida, or
It's
a
the
few
4th of
days
July
ago,
weekend.
like Ohio or wherever we go, we have tens of thousands of people show.
Anybody doing something fun for 4th of July? I'm playing in a tennis tournament in the morning, and then I'm going to my good friends Chris and/or Lou tomorrow to see Safi the Wonder Dog and have a barbecue. And they live right by a golf course where they put off fireworks. We're having a ball. And I will just be hanging out with Safi, petting her and telling her it's okay because fireworks are terrible for animals. So if you got the choice, don't do fireworks.
We want so many
There we go.
basic things. It's so easy. Space Force is wonderful. They didn't want to have Space Force.
Okay.
All of these things, it's so basic. You know, I actually call it the party of common sense. Somebody said, are you a very strong conservative? I said, you know, I guess so, but I'm really a person that believes in common sense. I don't want to have the open borders.
No one does.
I don't want to have open borders.
Yeah.
I don't want to have sanctuary cities that are protecting criminals, murderers, all sorts of people.
Nobody
I don't
wants to
have
protect
that.
murderers.
I want to have great education. I want to have a powerful military. I want to have powerful and wonderful law enforcement. They
Right.
don't. They wanted to fund the police. And
Biden
Joe
doesn't
Biden
want
is
to.
perhaps the most unpatriotic president in American history in that sense. He canceled the 4th of July fire.
Yeah, how many of his kids served in the military there, Mr. Trump? He didn't cancel the 4th of July.
Well, think of it. You know, Christie, great governor, she came to me.
Kristi Noem.
Christie Noem, she came to me, sir. For many, many years, we haven't been able to do fireworks at Mount Rushmore. I said,
Yeah.
why? They say it's the environment, and they say it's dangerous. I say, really? Is there anything that's going to catch a fire? No, sir. I said, yeah, it's all stone, right? Stone.
No.
Stone's not going to burn.
It's covered
And
by
I approved
trees.
it 3 years ago. They had some of the most beautiful.
Mount
There's
Rushmore.
almost nothing we can do in Sarasota to top it. If this fireworks company does anything close, I'll be very impressed, okay? But we had fireworks at Mount Rushmore that was so incredible. And it's all stone. It's stone. And it was wonderful. And then I saw the other day that they refused to allow it to happen again. I think they do it in spite. It's so ridiculous. It's so sad. The left wants to cancel the heroes on Mount Rushmore. They actually want to take Mount Rushmore. You've heard this. I mean, nobody's surprised. They want to take down the Jefferson Memorial. They probably don't want to take it down. They want to take the statue of Thomas Jefferson out and replace it with somebody. By the way, let me tell you, you're not going to be happy with the person they want to replace him with. Ladies and gentlemen, Thomas Jefferson is being removed from the Jefferson Memorial.
Mount Rushmore.
And being replaced with the Reverend Al Sharpton.
Trees. 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 Trees.
I don't think so.
Trees. Things that can burn.
No. Well, nobody would have a problem with that, right? No, I could name plenty that they want to replace him with, and not good. It's not good. It's not acceptable. Not acceptable. We stopped that. That was going to, they were heading that way, and I signed the bill. If you touch it, you go to jail for 10 years. And everyone turned around and they went back home. Ladies and gentlemen, the Thomas Jefferson Memorial is now replaced by Joe Biden. President Biden is going to replace. You know, one thing I'll say, he made the State of the Union thing, and honestly, it was
State
sad.
of the Union.
It was
Sing.
And I felt badly for him. I do, because I want what's good for the country. But this was a very sad situation, and Nancy was behind him. She had the single biggest mask I've ever seen on a human being.
But, like, what?
This mask went from her hair all the way down to here. The biggest mask I've ever seen, and he was making it. He had a hard time with the speech. He was stumbling a lot. A lot of bad things were happening with that speech, and I said, that's really sad. And then I turned on MSDNC and CNN, and I just wanted to see what they thought.
Never seen a mask that big.
This was one of the truly great speeches of our time. You know, FDR, a lot of people here might not like FDR, but he was a great, elegant speaker, right? The only thing you have to fear is fear itself.
Oh, such a good FDR.
How beautiful the words.
Such a great. That's. I feel like I'm listening to a fireside chat right now.
Well, it was
the only thing you have to fear.
And one of them on CNN.
Yeah.
Said, this very much compares to the late great FDR.
Uh-huh.
They said
right.
That.
In terms of getting America up and going again. Yeah. Bold, ambitious.
Speech, which was sad. It was sad. They were comparing it to FDR. No, that doesn't work. But their credibility is at an all-time low. The media, the fake news media, is at an all.
Are they going to turn their lights on?
To do with that? I think so.
Turn their lights off.
I think it's one of my greatest achievements. I think one of my greatest achievements is explaining to people that the media in this country is corrupt. And
they won't listen to the media and get their vaccines. And Americans are dying because I convinced them not to trust the media. That's one of your greatest. Look at that. The lights are going to go off.
Just went off.
Just went off.
Two cameras just went off.
Two cameras that are not broadcasting this.
I like to give them a warning so they can just go to a commercial. Biden canceled my 1776 commission to honor America's founding. Within hours of taking office, almost immediately, great people were put on that commission, great patriots. He canceled the National Garden of American Heroes, who was going to the great state of Tennessee. And he announced 1 year ago tonight to celebrate. This was announced about a year ago. It was going to Tennessee.
Yeah, you announced it, not him.
Build beautiful, magnificent statues to the greatest people in the history of our country.
You announced that.
He canceled it. Why? Why would you do that?
Because it's stupid.
The Biden White House publicly took the side of the Olympic athlete who denounced the national anthem and who shunned our great flag.
I don't remember them publicly doing that, but okay.
And in place of old-fashioned love of America, the Biden administration has new rules pushing hateful Marxist critical race theory into our children's schools and into our military.
Crickle like
the
a streaming channel where you can watch movies for free?
Is flagrant racism. It's plain and simple. It's pure, plain racism. It has no place in our schools, in our military, or in our country. When we take back Congress, Republicans must defund immediately critical race theory in our military.
How do you do that? How do you defund critical race theory?
And refuse to pass any spending bill that does not stop these mind trainings and restore order to our borders. With Joe Biden and the radical left, it is always America last. It's America last. Look at what he's doing. It's America.
Some people call it education. We call it mind training. Am I what is that called? Am I cutting? Am I my microphone, is it oh, when it peaks? Am I clipping? Is my microphone clipping? It sounds in my headphones like it's clipping, but I don't know why I can hear myself because I usually can't.
America last. Other countries are laughing at us. They can't even believe it.
They're laughing at
this.
this.
While I was president, it was always America first, and our country was respected again. We withdrew from the horrible Iran nuclear deal. How about that beauty? $150 billion, $1.8 billion in cash.
That wasn't part of the deal.
We wiped out ISIS and other radical Islamic terrorists. Biden has a lot to be thankful for, but Obama couldn't do it. Biden couldn't do it.
You wiped out Biden?
We knocked out the entire caliphate in Syria, Iraq. We terminated al-Baghdadi and Soleimani. We fully rebuilt the United States military and completely restarted the NASA space program. All these ships you see, that's because of us. It was closed. There was grass growing out of the cracks on the runway. NASA.
That grass grows this way.
This is sad.
Grass goes
We
up.
totally opened it up. Now everyone's bidding millions of dollars to go up to space.
Yeah,
we created Space Force, and we took
those are
care
public.
of our vets.
Those are private, Ron.
Like nobody has ever taken care of our vets. Getting a 92% approval rating, the highest in history by many, many points. Our vets, thank you. Our great vets.
That's the VA.
Nobody's ever done a better job with our vets. We did a fantastic. I want to thank our secretary. What a job. We recognize Jerusalem as the capital.
So many vets lost to COVID. Hundreds of thousands of vets. No one's ever seen that many vets die under their watch.
Of Israel. Recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. And we made historic peace deals in the Middle East. The Abraham Accords, and we brought our troops back home. They're back home. Most of them are back home.
Solved Middle East war. There's no more war in the
We also
Middle East.
imposed historic sanctions on the evil communist regime in China and the brutal socialist regime in Venezuela.
Okay, but I thought the Chinese were your friends. I thought that was what we had just covered, and the deal went great, and everybody was happy with China.
Imposing gigantic tariffs, saving our steel industry and other industries. If I didn't do that, we wouldn't even have a steel industry, through which they're now paying us billions and billions of dollars. And Obama wants to cancel it, but you notice they haven't done it yet. It's too much money.
Well, Obama isn't president anymore, so...
Biden is weak on China, just like he is weak on everything else except prosecuting Republicans. And now he has done nothing to hold China responsible for unleashing the virus upon us and the rest of the world. As you probably noticed, the Democrats and the media are now admitting that I was right about virtually everything all along, almost everything.
No, not at all.
The virus came from the Chinese lab.
We don't
Remember
know that.
when they said, horrible. When I said it came from Wuhan, the lab, they went, horrible. They went crazy. I said, what did I say?
Nobody went crazy.
Common sense, right? Hydroxychloroquine works.
Nope.
They cost lives. They cost lives. I should have done it differently. I said, you should not take under any circumstances hydroxychloroquine. And they would have said, horrible, you must take it. And I would have been happy.
I should have said,
But
you should not inject
with the wall, too, instead of 2.5
disinfectant
years
directly
of
into your
litigation.
body, and they would have done it.
We will not build a wall under any circumstances. The wall would have been built in 15 minutes. They like to go the opposite. Hunter Biden's laptop was real, right? Remember when he was asked a question
I
on
don't care.
a very friendly news program?
Nobody cares.
Is it real? I don't know. Oh, you don't know. If you don't know, that means it's real.
That's the way the reporter asked the
Lafayette
question.
Square was not
Is it
cleared
real?
for a photo op, right?
That's
They thought
Walter
it was
Cronkite,
funny.
right?
That just came out. The
And that's
Russian
the way it
bounty,
is.
remember? The Russian bounty story was a total fake. It was made up by Shifty Schiff. Remember?
No, the shifty shit
Russia,
make it
Russia,
up.
Russia was a hoax.
It wasn't a total fake. We
paid
don't have
for
the
by the
intelligence to know
DNC and
that.
crooked Hillary Clinton.
Was not a hoax.
The Mueller witch hunt showed no collusion.
It didn't look at
Impeachment
collusion.
hoax number one, I was not guilty. Impeachment hoax number 2.
Because of Republicans in the Senate. Because
We
of
produced
Republicans in the Senate.
vaccines before the end of 2020. Remember that? They said, oh, so many years, don't do it. We got them done. Blue state lockdowns did not work. We said, open up your states. It's up to the governors. We said, open up your states. Schools should be opened immediately, right? Immediately.
You never said they should be open immediately.
Our border security actions were completely necessary, and Joe Biden's agenda is every bit as radical and disastrous as I predicted. I said all these things.
Really? Because you said the stock market was going to crash. Remember, you said the suburbs were going to be gone. Remember, you said that the July the 4th was going to be canceled. Remember, you said Christmas would be canceled next.
Right? That was the last question. I felt just like, I said, did you hear that? Nobody could believe it. But you know what? He wasn't lying. He's destroying the energy industry in this country. That was one of the things he told the truth on. I wonder what I will be proved right about next. Perhaps it will be the election, perhaps.
The oil industry is doing very, very well right now. They're literally burning the water in the Gulf of Mexico. But when gas prices are high, it's fantastic for the oil industry. Why are they high? Because of supply and demand. It's the free market at work. I don't know why the Republicans are so against the free market. But the demand right now, because the economy is in high gear, is very high.
Fraud, irregularities, and illegality is already overwhelming, and frankly, it was a long time ago. Democrats used COVID to cheat. They illegally changed the rules in the key states and mailed out millions and millions and millions of absentee ballots all over the place. People went in to vote, Republicans. I'd like to vote. I'm sorry, ma'am, you've already voted. No, I haven't. I waited for this day. I've been waiting
There's been one case of that.
Vote. You voted. I'm sorry, you voted.
One case of that in 160 million votes. One case.
They stole the votes.
One case.
People walked in by the tens of thousands to vote. And these are solid, strong, great people. And they said, you've already voted.
No, they didn't.
3 things happened.
What?
People would go crazy.
Oh, yeah.
People would get a little bit upset.
Right.
People would just shrug their shoulders and just leave. They'd go, hey,
the soldiers?
Let's leave.
Why would you shrug your shoulders?
Shoulders.
Shoulders.
And they mailed out ballot applications to every person on the rolls. Dead or alive, legal or illegal, right?
Yeah, these are applications.
They mailed out these applications. They used hundreds of millions of dollars from left-wing billionaires to put on lawful drop boxes all over Democrat-run cities to scoop up ballots in swing states.
Okay.
Nobody's ever seen
they let
these
people
drop
vote.
boxes. They're called drop boxes. People coming in, nobody
knows. What are you talking about?
Voted.
Drop boxes all over the place.
And they came out 96%.
Nobody's ever seen them. I've seen them. I've been using them for years.
You got 96% in some of them. I got 4%. Actually, that's better than I thought, because at least they didn't keep 100%. This was the most corrupt election. Take a look at New York. Watch what's happening there. But this is the most corrupt election. They sent, ours is worse than what's happening in New York, worse. They sent political operatives door to door in Democrat neighborhoods to harvest Democrat votes by the thousands, and like in Georgia, deleted over 100,000 voters off the voter rolls after the election. I said, why didn't you do it before the election?
They do that after every election.
It wasn't close.
That's
actually.
standard procedure.
But the loss they gave me was very close.
None of those people voted.
Votes.
None of the people on the rolls that were deleted recently voted. That's how it works. If you haven't voted in a while, they're like, well, they must not live here anymore. We're taking them off the rolls.
More than 100,000.
None of them voted.
Question. Why didn't you do that, if you don't mind, before?
You don't do it because you don't know whether they're going to vote or not.
They abolished
and then if they
signature
don't vote,
verification
you take them out.
Created a powerful system for media and online censorship.
He's just such a fucking moron. This is basic fundamental comprehension, and he just doesn't get it at all. Seriously, America, what the fuck are you thinking?
I still would have a good crowd because we have a good, but you know what? I wouldn't have a crowd that goes beyond what the eye can see, that stays in a thunderstorm where they're going, ladies and gentlemen, there are massive rains. We're in the midst of a storm. There's lightning. Please, please go home. And nobody wants to go home. They didn't leave. Look at you. Some of the women are a mess. Now, actually, it's true. No, look at a woman. She's a mess. But the truth is you look more beautiful now than you did when you went to the beauty parlor. So you can save a lot of money. That's true. You actually look better. My women wet. Don't know it. You're real. You're real. It's great. It's great. But think of it. Thunderstorms are coming. Please evacuate. Please leave. Nobody left. Nobody left. I'm glad to say you're all here because, you know, if you weren't, I would be blamed 100%. And why didn't Democrats get legislative approval mandated under the U.S. Constitution to change their election laws? They changed it without getting legislative approval.
These are also
information
Republican
is coming out now in Arizona, Georgia, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and except for weak Michigan state Republican senators, I mean, can you imagine Detroit? Detroit, they say, is the single most corrupt district area, Wayne County, in the whole country. You had people that refused to sign documents saying the election was over. They refused. 2 people, brave people. They refused. They said, we can't sign those documents. This thing is terrible. Detroit. Philadelphia. We have a U.S. attorney in Philadelphia that says he wasn't allowed.
So you've been mistaking.
To go and check Philadelphia.
Yeah.
That's a big statement. I'll tell you who didn't allow him someday. I'll do it at my next rally. But can you imagine this?
Will you?
Because, you know, we have
at the next rally. Okay, kids, next rally he'll tell us something about Philadelphia. They work with the
Democrats and the Republicans, and those are the Republicans.
Because he can't tell us now.
In fact, those are Republicans that in many ways are worse than the Democrats, okay? They're worse.
Yeah.
If Mitch McConnell had the courage and the guts, and if he was a real leader, he would have wanted to look into all the corruption that took place. He knew about it. During the presidential election, a lot of these people sitting over here, they looked into it and they said, that's real. And our country may very well have been in a much different position than it is today. I would have been vetoing every one of those bills that was sent. He couldn't approve it fast enough. He couldn't
the tax relief for everyone, the
to
tax credit for everybody with kids in that audience.
First thing he did is he signed 17 executive orders that were a kill. Bernie Sanders can't even believe it's happening, okay? This is so far.
By the way, I don't know why the media and the Democrats aren't talking about this. If you have kids and you live in the United States and you make less than X, which is not a very high number, it depends on how many kids you have, where you are, etc., you'll be getting a tax break. Hundreds of dollars every month. You got 2 kids? Okay, here's $500 from the American government. Take care of your kids. And nobody's talking about it. It's insane. What are we talking about? We're talking about Kamala Harris and the border. Like, what? Why? This is important. This affects half the people standing behind him right now, probably have a kid or 2 that they know of. They'll be getting money.
We would have a country that likes...
I doubt there's very many billionaires standing behind him right now.
Mitch McConnell. The Republicans have to get themselves a real leader. You got some great senators, but they have to get themselves a real leader. And by the way, who shot Ashley Babbitt? Who shot Ashley Babbitt? Who shot Ashley Babbitt? We all saw the hand. We saw the gun. I spoke to her mother the other day, an incredible woman. She's just devastated, like it happened yesterday. Devastated. You know, if that were on the other side, the person that did the shooting would be strung up and hung.
No.
Okay.
Nobody's
now
hanging
they don't
anybody.
want to give the name.
It's really the Republicans who've done a lot of the hanging recently.
People know where it came from.
You know, like Mike Pence.
And it's a terrible thing. Right shot. Boom. There was no reason for it.
Well, he was entering the speaker's lobby illegally through a broken window.
And how come so many people are still in jail over January 6th when nobody paid a price for the fire and carnage and death that took place in Democrat-run cities throughout our country, including Antifa
that was right outside
and BLM? How come? How come? And why are our Republican leaders like McConnell afraid to take up the subject and talk about it. Disgrace to our country. We need...
I love that he didn't get impeached and convicted on impeachment, because here he is burning the party from the inside out. He's just spent the last 2 minutes talking about McConnell.
To lose 25 seats, and we won 16. Think of it. Look at that swing. Do you know, I called 56 phone calls. They're called town hall calls. They go to the district. I'd have 10, 15, 20,000 people. Every single call I made, the person won. I went to Kevin McCarthy. I said, Kevin, give me every congressman who's down, every congressman who's even, and every congressman who's up by a little. You know, can't call everybody. It turned out to be 56 calls. I made 56 calls. We didn't lose one seat. If I didn't make those calls, you would have lost 25 to 40 seats.
Doesn't matter.
And if I didn't come to the rescue of the United States Senate, your numbers now, instead of 50-50,
the Democrats
would be 60-40. And Mitch McConnell should never have lost those 2 seats in the great state of Georgia.
You literally did a rally in Georgia the day before, and they still lost.
We would be 60-40 right now. I did all of those teletown halls. We received, and I received almost, think of this, you know, they like to say, well, the local congressman or the local representative, state rep, he was more popular than Trump, but they don't say that. They say there's no way.
No, they do.
Here's the number. It just
they
came
do.
out. I received
Republicans
almost 1.5 million more
votes
than the Republican House candidates combined. Think of that. So in other words, I had a man come up to me, a real pro, older guy, said, sir, I was going to lose my election. I was going to lose by a lot. And then you got involved. It was a state known as Arizona. And I'm very proud of those Republican state representatives.
What's his name?
The state Senate representatives, what
so
they're
he
doing.
won in the election.
He said, I was going to lose my election.
Somehow
I was going to
Arizona
lose
was
it
rigged.
big, sir. And then you came along and you did rallies and the level of, and I won my election by a landslide. But you were much more popular than me, sir. And you won by much less than I did. He said the election was rigged, sir. There was no way that it was possible that I got more votes.
But they
I only won
Donald
because
Trump.
of you. And they said I got more votes. But look at that, 1.5 million more votes I got. And that's okay. That's not bragging. That's just to show you how corrupt this election was. We won Ohio in a landslide. We won Florida by the largest margin of any candidate in decades. And only once, many, many years ago, did a candidate lose a presidential election but won Florida and Ohio. Many, many years ago. In all of history, if you win Florida, 2 big states, and Ohio, you're a Republican, you win. Except for me. Once in history. But one that was never, ever was if you win Florida, you win Ohio, and you win Iowa. I won all 3 by very large numbers. Nobody has ever lost an election if you won all 3. And I won all 3 by a lot.
Nixon.
And this country's in big trouble when an election cannot be open, free, fair, and not stolen and rigged. You know what? We got them by surprise in 2016. And they worked for 4 years to make sure that never happens again.
And they're
not going to do it with their policies, as we discussed. But that's the way it is. I want to thank every one of you here tonight who have worked so hard for our Florida victory. It was an incredible victory. It was a victory where we were outspent by tens of millions of dollars. We could not have done it without you and a lot of the people in the audience. I recognize so many. I love this state. We easily won the Cuban-American vote in Florida, including a mammoth increase in Miami-Dade County, something that doesn't happen with Republicans. We got a tremendous vote. 15% of Cuban-Americans who voted for crooked Hillary Clinton in 2016 switched their votes to us. Yet Joe Biden, who did not even campaign here, supposedly got millions more black votes than Barack Hussein Obama. Now, let me ask you, does anybody really believe that Biden got more black votes than Obama? Especially in the swing states.
Well,
They really
it's 8
came out
years
to
later.
vote in the swing states, really. I'll say. So he got more votes than Barack Hussein Obama. Great president.
And you did too.
He did a great job.
I
He
don't know
wasn't
about black
divisive
votes
at all.
specifically.
Trump's divisive. He wasn't divisive.
But the population of
We
Florida
have a
has grown
truly
substantially.
sick election system, and it's got to be changed. Remember this. I am not the one trying to undermine American democracy. I am the one trying to save American democracy.
Even though all 50, including 29 Republican secretaries
We
of state
can't let them
have
take away
certified
our
the
free
election.
speech, so
And
we can
all
talk
50
about
governors,
corrupt elections.
including
Otherwise, you'll
27
have that's
Republican
communism.
governors,
That's what they
have
do in
certified
these
the election.
communist countries. You have no voice. Republicans across the country are uniting around a plan to secure every future election with photo ID, voter ID, universal signature verification, citizenship confirmation, chain of custody integrity controls, updated voter rolls, and that's before the elections, not after the elections. Thank you very much. No
They
more
do it
dead
before the
people or
election.
illegal aliens are going to be allowed to vote.
They can't
No more
vote.
illegal drop boxes put in by Facebook.
Facebook.
And restoring the time-honored tradition of in-person voting on Election Day, not 30 days before and
So
after.
no early voting.
All night.
He wants to take
And
away
in
early voting.
conclusion, with the help of everyone here
Everybody
tonight,
has to vote on that
and
Tuesday
patriots
only,
nationwide,
in person.
we will elect a Republican House. Going to do it. We have no choice. And a
Yeah, there's a
Republican
choice.
Senate to do all of this and so much more. We're going to bring our country back with a Republican Congress. We will fight for more jobs for American families, fair trade for American workers, and more American factories forging more products stamped with that beautiful phrase, made in the USA. Made in the USA. Remember, we used to have that. We have it now. We're starting to get it back. And then Biden got elected. They're not using it anymore.
Really?
We will hold China
They've shut down all the
accountable for the
factories.
damage
Oh,
and
well.
suffering they have caused and charge them $10 trillion at least in reparation.
Okay.
We will defend American sovereignty, we will secure America's borders, and we will end illegal immigration once and for all, like we had it just about ended 6 months ago. We will break up
Half of all illegal immigration is people overstaying their visas.
restore the right to free speech in America again, which we don't
You're allowed
have.
to have free speech.
We will protect
You're literally
innocent
speaking
life.
freely.
We will defend our Constitution, we will defend the Second Amendment, and we will proudly uphold the Judeo-Christian values and principles of our nation's founding.
Okay, then.
We will care for our veterans, continue to strengthen our military, and give our police officers, Border Patrol, ICE, and law enforcement our 100% support. We will restore patriotic education to our schools. And
That's
we will
indoctrination.
teach our children to love their country, honor our history, and to stand tall and strong for our great American flag. 245 years ago tomorrow, 56 brave patriots in Philadelphia proudly declared our independence and boldly proclaimed the eternal truth that we are all made equal by the almighty hand of our Creator.
Unless you were African American and or female and or not a white person of male appendage who owned land. Otherwise, you were all created equal.
For 8 long years of the American Revolution, tens of thousands of ordinary citizens fought, bled, and died in an epic struggle against the most powerful military on the face of the earth. They were the most powerful. They were farmers.
No, the British were the most powerful.
Who bravely stood their ground at Lexington Green and Concord Bridge.
He just totally got that backwards.
They were soldiers who marched barefoot through ice and snow to seize a pivotal victory in Trenton. And they were selfless patriots who did it all so that we, the people, would forever rule our great country. Our movement is up against some of the most sinister forces and entrenched interests that anyone can imagine. But no matter how big or how powerful they may seem, you must never forget, this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you. Belongs to you.
Why would Joe Biden have a rally?
This
Like, all
land
of
is your
this.
home, it's your history, it's your heritage.
It's your heritage. There it is. There's the buzzword. Like, I just can't imagine. I never see a pickup truck driving by with Biden flags in the back. I wouldn't buy Biden flags and put them on my vehicles or my house. Why would I? Why? They're not kings. They're employees of the public. That's what Trump was. He was a public employee.
Many of them, I don't like them much. Our forefathers are the people who gave us the world's most majestic and enduring Constitution. They are the men and women who crossed the Rockies in covered wagons and who faced unimaginable dangers to win the Wild West and who tamed the wilderness, forged the steel, laid the railroads, dug out the canal, raised up the skyscrapers and built America into the greatest nation in all of history, and we are not...
They dug up one canal.
Our ancestors just absolutely crushed
The Native Americans.
fascism beneath the weight
fascism.
of American
Okay.
tanks. They toppled communism by the sheer strength of American culture. And now we will defeat woke radicalism by the sheer power of American pride. And it's happening. Americans settled the new world. We built the modern world. And from right here in Florida, we launched American astronauts to proudly salute our stars and stripes on that very beautiful moon. There is no mountain we cannot climb. There is no summit we cannot reach. There is no enemy we cannot match. There is no challenge we cannot meet. There is nothing we cannot do. Because we are Americans and our hearts bleed red, white, and blue. We will not bend. We will not break. We will not yield. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never back down. We will never, ever surrender.
Okay, but you lost. So
My fellow Americans, our movement is far from over.
Oh,
In fact,
God.
our fight has only just begun. You know
is the
that.
speech far from over?
We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. So with love of America swelling in our hearts and the spirit of July 4th, 1776 stirring in our souls, I say these words to you tonight. We will make our elections free and safe again. We will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again.
Make America safe again. Brave again.
We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again.
Oh,
thank you,
great
Sarasota.
again.
Thank you, Florida. Enjoy the fireworks. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
And then they play music, and we can't watch the music. Okay, so that was something. There's some fireworks, so you can tune into a channel or something if you want to see the fireworks. All right, that's it for me, guys. Live from the TBD studios. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. If you want to send me money, then please feel free. Happy Independence Day to you all. I don't think I'll be broadcasting tomorrow. In fact, I know I won't. I've got a full day of plans, enjoying this country, and enjoying my friends and family. So go get yourself vaccinated so that you can enjoy your friends and family like me. Guys, take care. Have a wonderful night. Be good to each other. Be good to yourself. And most importantly, be good to me.